Titans fans, welcome into Titans Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jace Andrews, and on today's show, we're going to tell you about the grade Mel Kiper gave to the Tennessee Titans in their 2024 NFL draft class. Let's get right into it with what he has said here. Now, he graded all 32 NFL teams, and he did talk about what the Titans did. He did view the Titans' needs as an offensive tackle, wide receiver, and linebacker, and he said he felt the Titans panicked a little bit in a couple of their picks. So not a good omen there as to what happened with their draft. How do you feel, though? I don't want to tell you his grade just yet, so let me know down in the comments section how you would grade the Tennessee Titans draft class. A, B, C, D, or F. What are you thinking for this year's 2024 Titans draft class? How are we feeling there? A being great, F being terrible, C being average, B and D the in-betweens there. Let me know down in the comments section. All right, here is what Mel Kiper said in his introductory paragraph saying, quote, "The Titans were a popular team in mock drafts for predictions on the first team to take an offensive tackle, but I said a few times I thought they could trade down from number 7 and still get one of the best tackles in the class. With Joe Alt gone to the Chargers at number 5, though it seemed like Tennessee panicked at least a little bit in selecting JC Latham with the number 7 overall pick," end quote. Kiper does have some concerns with JC Latham, and it's nothing that I didn't really point out, but I think he has a little bit more of a detailed evaluation of it, and I think it's more or less a football mind that I just don't have just yet. So here's what Mel Kiper said about JC Latham and maybe some concerns with that, saying, quote, "Yes, the offense ranked 31st in sack rate per dropback at 11.1% last season and allowed 64 sacks, which were the second most in the history of its franchise. But as I wrote Thursday night, I have doubts about whether Latham can play left tackle, and the Titans have now taken a right tackle and guard in top 11 in back-to-back drafts. Is that the best use of high picks? I'm not so sure, though I do think Latham can be a physically imposing run blocker." So again, I think that's the big thing here with JC Latham. Can he transition over to left tackle smoothly? Obviously, we had him scouted, number 5 overall offensive tackle. You take him as the second offensive tackle off the board. Number 25 overall prospect, you get him number 7. I think it was a little bit of a reach, and that's probably why the grade isn't that high for that. Now, he was a plug-and-play option at right tackle, not so much at left tackle, and I don't know if they want to move him to guard, given you drafted Peter Skoronski last year as a tackle and moved him to guard. His power and his wingspan are going to be very positive things, but he's just not that fast. And I think a bigger thing, he kind of is too aggressive for an offensive lineman. I'd like you to stay back. He almost goes after the edge rusher than maybe waiting back for him. And again, I just don't understand, for the Titans' sake, why did you not trade back? That's my biggest question mark in this, because I know there's been all those comments. Jace, you realize there has to be other teams that want to trade back. I understand that. But just as Mel Kiper said, you could have found somebody. There was somebody who would want to trade up. Let's say you did it with maybe the Vikings, maybe the Raiders. They both wanted a quarterback. What would the Raiders have given you? I mean, you got to just look at something. I think you got to gotten Latham later and say he's not there. Felice Fuaga still there. You got a couple of really good tackles. Olufashanu was there at 12. 11. It just is a question mark to me as to what happened, and we'll never know. We'll never know if Rand Carthon actually tried to pursue a trade or not. Let's go to the second pick, though, of the draft and what Mel Kiper said about T'Vondre Sweat. Quote, "In round 2, Tennessee reached for nose tackle T'Vondre Sweat, who I thought was more of a third-rounder because of his inconsistent play and an arrest for driving while intoxicated earlier this month." Yeah, that is a problem. That wasn't exactly the greatest thing for him to get arrested the month he was going to get drafted in the NFL, but the Titans, well, I guess it didn't matter to them. Now, obviously, we don't know if that's going to affect anything long-term. It's just something you have to question mark as, why did that happen? Why did he get arrested? Why was that even a possibility? But as a player, he's really big. I mean, that's the biggest thing. He is going to go out there and absorb double teams. You're going to have to force the offensive line that he's against. They're going to have to put 2 guys on him. They're going to have to go out there and make sure that he's not going to get past, which he's very good at getting pressures on the quarterback, just not completing the sack. Good news is you have Jeffrey Simmons. So when he gets in the backfield, probably means Jeffrey Simmons is going to get back there too, and he'll most likely take down the quarterback. At least that's the thought. You needed a nose tackle, but again, I'm kind of like Mel Kiper on this one. It was just a reach. You didn't need to do this. You could have gotten somebody here and still like traded into the third round or something like that if you really wanted him. That's just kind of the way I look at it. I do not think that T'Vondre Sweat is going to be like this amazing player. However, I think it was not a bad pick by any stretch. I mean, yeah, the value's not great, but I think he'll be fine. And you need a nose tackle. I'm not playing Keandre Coburn there. So, hey, let's go get a different Texas guy and T'Vondre Sweat. So I don't mind it that much, but again, just a little bit of a reach. You know what's not a reach, though? Game Time. They're always on board, and you can get $20 off your first purchase by using code CHATSPORTS. Game Time is the easiest way to get last-minute tickets to all of your favorite events in your area, whether it's sports, music, comedy, theater. Game Time has you covered. Right now, you can download the Game Time app and use that code CHATSPORTS to get $20 off. Some of my favorite things about Game Time is the last-minute ticket deals. You're not going to find better deals last minute than Game Time. They even have tickets at the start of the event and an hour into it. Now, obviously, the NHL playoffs are going on right now. The Predators taking on the Canucks. Canucks up 3-1, going back to Vancouver tomorrow. However, if they do find a way, if the Predators can pull it out, Game 6 coming back to Nashville, so you can go get those seats if they do have that game. Or you want to go support the Preds, you want to take a trip to Vancouver, tickets aren't that bad, and you can get $20 off your first purchase by using code CHATSPORTS. So here's what you're going to do. No matter if it's sports, music, comedy, you want better deals on your tickets, well, then here's what you do. Download Game Time and then use the code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Terms do apply. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. Chat Sports, no spaces, for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Lowest prices guaranteed. All right, let's look at some of the other picks the Tennessee Titans had with Cedric Gray, the linebacker out of the University of North Carolina, Jarvis Brownlee Jr., the cornerback out of Louisville, and then Jha'Quan Jackson, the wide receiver out of Tulane. The picks in rounds 4, 5, 6, all through that. Here is what we saw from Mel Kiper on Cedric Gray, who I actually really, really like. Quote, Cedric Gray could be a steal in round 4. He might never be great in coverage, but he can blitz off the edge and be a menace between the tackles in the run game. And this is exactly why I think he was the pick, because if you look at this Tennessee Titans team, they needed an edge rusher, but they didn't really want to take one given they have a 3-down line front. And they already had Sebastian Joseph Day, Jeffrey Simmons, and now obviously T'Vondre Sweat at that point. Though Gray, he kind of a Swiss Army knife. He can play a little bit in coverage, but he's very good at reading the RPO, and that's exactly why I think he may be my favorite pick of this draft for the Tennessee Titans. He's going to fit in that Harold Landry, Jack Gibbons kind of rotational role. Could see him maybe playing both those in the inside linebacker and outside linebacker. Obviously, he's going to rotate out and try out some different things throughout the entirety of his tenure with the Tennessee Titans, but I like what Mel Kiper said in the fact that he can rush off the edge very well, and I think a blitzing linebacker is what he will end up being in the NFL. I'm excited to see what type of blitzing linebacker they end up making him, whether that's going to be a full edge rusher or if they just kind of make it to where you're going to play linebacker, we'll put you in coverage from now, but we're going to blitz you a lot as well. I think that's what they'll probably do, especially with Denard Wilson, who was a recent cornerbacks coach. Do think it's going to work out, so I'm excited about that. But I do think he may be my favorite pick in this entire draft, so I'm really excited to see what he does with that, and I do think that he is going to work out in a lot of different facets. So Cedric Gray, though, I think for all intensive purposes, coming out at round 7, I do see him potentially going in here, and probably day 1 being a rotational starter. I think that we could probably maybe see him hop in there and play with Jack Gibbons day 1. I'm not for sure about that, but again, high upside in round 4. Could be a steal, just as Mel Kiper said. Now, Jha'Quan Jackson. All right. What the heck were you doing? You have a couple of different options here. With Malik Washington, who I think is better than Jha'Quan Jackson. Brennan Rice, who again, I know there's question marks, but I still think he was better than Jha'Quan Jackson. I just don't know what was going on here. I did not like this pick at all. It made no sense. It made no sense. For the first one being, why pick him over the other receivers? Second of all, if you needed a wide receiver at wide receiver 3 or 4, Pick one earlier. Like, what are we doing here? I don't get it. We'll have to see, though. Maybe I'm going to be wrong. I know that he and Tajay Spears are pretty close because Tulane kind of chemistry there. So that was kind of fun to see. I'm not going to lie about that. But I'm very intrigued to see what happens with that pick. I'm not too high on him, though. If you did miss it, we have our UDFA tracker out where the Titans signed, you guessed it, Dylan Johnson, the Washington Husky running back. Pretty good running back room with Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard. Add Dylan Johnson to the mix. Be a pretty solid running back, if you ask me. We have the list of every single UDFA signing, talk about them and their potential going forward to either make the squad or maybe just be a practice squad guy at best. We also did grade every single pick in the 2024 Titans draft class from obviously JC Latham to the last pick for them later on. So we will definitely want to watch that. Got everything covered for you, giving grades to every one of them and talking about why I did like it or why I did not like it. So go down there. We'll have the links of those in the comments section. Go check that out, and definitely encourage you to go watch it. Some of our best videos we have here at Chat Sports. Did have 2 7th-round picks here. Here were the guys, James Williams, the safety out of Miami, and then Jalen Harrell, the edge from Michigan. So you kind of get an edge rusher there. But 7th-round picks are kind of always interesting to me because you never know what you're going with. Like all these NFL executives and GMs, like they have a plan going into it, but by the time you get to the 7th round, it's kind of like the fantasy draft in NFL football. You just kind of pick whatever the heck you find. If it's a position that kind of works, sure. I mean, I don't know about you, but once I get to like round 13 in my NFL fantasy draft, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy, I knew his name in college. Maybe he'll be good. I don't know. Take him. Kind of the same thing in the NFL draft. It's like, maybe he could be good. I don't know. Worst comes to worst, we can put him on the practice squad, see what happens. So you're not really like expecting these guys to become solid starters, but you never know. Things can happen. Brock Purdy, obviously saw a 6th-round draft pick of Tom Brady. More recently, Isaiah Pacheco became, in my mind, one of the better running backs in the NFL, and he was 11 picks before Brock Purdy in the 7th round. So you never truly know, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to guess stuff like that. What's your favorite pick in this Titans draft class? Somebody that stands out, somebody that looks like, oh yeah, I want them, or I don't like them, maybe. Let me know in the comment section your favorite or maybe not so favorite pick for the Tennessee Titans. Here is the closing paragraph from the article for Mel Kiper grading the Tennessee Titans draft class, saying, quote, if Latham makes an easy conversion to left tackle and immediately dominates, this class will look much better. As is, I don't love the value overall, end quote. And that's why he gave them a C+. Now, to be fair, his worst grade was a C. So, like, that's not bad. I think that, like, overall, when you're 4 teams in C+, it's not great, but you weren't the worst. I'm not a fan. Listen, it stinks, but at the same time, like, I trust Rand Carthen. People thought last year's draft wasn't amazing. It ended up working out, so maybe we'll have a similar type thing here. And I do like the UDFA signings we have, which, by the way, we'll have a grade video for the UDFAs here coming out probably tomorrow. So stay subscribed and in tune for that. Before we do go, I have a little bit of news to share with you. Unfortunately, I am going to be pursuing another career opportunity in the near future, and this week will be my final week here covering the Titans for Chat Sports. Now, don't worry, we're not going to go anywhere. The Chat Sports team here is amazing, and they've got you covered for the Tennessee Titans all throughout the offseason, and obviously they will give a new host to you as soon as possible. And I promise you, you're going to want to stick around. Just because I'm leaving does not mean that this channel is going anywhere else but up, and hopefully Titan Nation can go up too. You got a lot of positive things, and I'm excited to see what they do in 2024. But I do want to sit here and say thank you to my bosses, James Yoder and Brett Scott, for teaching me and allowing me to be a part of this amazing team for the past couple of months, honestly, 10 months, almost a year now. So do appreciate them, and obviously want to give a huge thank you to all of you watching these videos. I've had some of the best fun of my life, but it's just time to pursue a different opportunity. So I do appreciate you. Make sure you're subscribed once again. Don't go anywhere. Just because I'm leaving does not mean this channel is going away. And guess what? They've got some amazing stuff coming for you. So hit that subscribe button, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed. For now, no Titans fans, tighten up and peace out.